Hey there, this is Ray with Ray's Guide. I'm excited to finally be able to be here at the IAE Expo, just getting ready to start, and they're showing me a new ship to look around, this Drake Corsair, and it's a interesting ship. First thing I notice is it sits very low to the ground. Look at these VTOL thrusters, they're almost touching the ground. The landing gear barely keeps it up off the ground, which makes kind of a contradiction, you see here, because this is supposed to be a exploration ship, and so if you're going to be exploring on bare ground, you're going to have to find a very flat piece of low ground without even any rocks, because like a big rock and you'll be sitting all cattywampus. Anyhow, it's kind of a contradiction, but as we look around, see these 4 big guns up here on pylons. Those are all controlled by the pilot. And then there's also a range of weapons. I got 2 turrets here, one on each side, and they look like they're good turrets. And then there's an escape pod here, this airlock escape pod, as close as you get to an escape pod on a Drake ship. I come around here, you got the other VTOL thruster there, and then look way up at this tall wing, and that's kind of the reason why it has to sit down so low, is because when the wings folded up, it's a very tall ship, and so they had to keep it low to the ground on short stub landing gear so that it would still fit underneath the roof of a typical hangar. Now there's a access to the ramp on both sides. That's an unusual thing. Usually you only have it on the left side, but this has access on the left and the right. And I come around here and I see a indication of an elevator. That's going to be good. I look around a little bit more here, and here's the elevator switch, kind of sitting kind of weird, kind of sideways, side and top, but it folds down, and here's a little elevator. You probably fit 2 people on it. Maybe a box, a small box, not the big box, but I can get up here and stand on it. And it took me a moment to figure out there's 3 levers for the 3 layers, 3 stops on this elevator. So I'm at the surface one. In between the 2 is one that's labeled mess hall, and then there's one that's labeled roof. And so you click on you go here, pull on the lever, and nothing happens because we're already at the ground level. Pull on this lever, and we're going to take us on up to the middle level, they're calling it mess hall. And yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. But then the 3rd lever here takes us all labeled up to the roof. And this is something unique about the Corsair. And it's kind of interesting. It doesn't really seem to be much that I can work with up here. Ain't no user serviceable parts, as they would sometimes say. So it's not really sure often, except maybe. Now, what's really fun is you can come up here and like mount a deck gun, so that you like be riding along the Space Ranger, shooting up at everything. But let's go back into the elevator, and I'm gonna click the middle lever that says mess hall, and we'll go around exploring the real part of the ship, the one deck that runs front to back. This is a single deck ship as far as the inside is concerned, although the elevator has 3 stops. And here we are in the mess hall. Let me go find a panel here. And you see we have these new Drake panels, new style Drake panels that include both opening and closing the door, and the light switch you can turn on and off here, and a lock. So it's all kind of multi-use. And the lighting's kind of dark here, but you can see we got a functional kitchen, a bed. Come over here, and behind the door labeled Drake, again, open closes on the top of the switch. And we have a typical Drake. Let's turn the lights on here. Okay, oh, that's a little better. Now we can see that it's a standard Drake kind of showerlet and sink. Good enough for guys that really like each other. Not sure what this emergency button is meant to be able to do, but it doesn't function yet at the moment. And you see we have a whole row of individual cabins, which is a bit of a luxury on a Drake ship. I mean, even the Caterpillar does not have individual cabins for each one of its crew. So I can see this being a friendly ship to be crew on, because you get your own space. You can hide from those guys at the end of the day you're just completely sick of seeing anymore. There's 3 of them along the lines. They're all identical. And let's continue. There's the, to orient ourselves, there's the elevator again. So let's continue forward. And we're up here in we're up here in the cockpit. Now to the left and the right, we have these turrets. Okay, 3 displays, and it looks like we have a very full range of motion here. Can look all the way forward. And here's how it looks like from the outside. You can see this turret has popped out a little bit, and I'm getting a pretty broad range of motion out of it. Now let's get out. And of course the opposite turret is on the other side. But I'll turn and continue forward to the main cockpit. And here we got 2 seats in a front and back arrangement. But the back seat has an interesting entrance because it comes down and forward. Now this is handy because we're going to have to find a very flat space to land in. This co-pilot seat has the view to be able to very carefully scope out a landing pad that we can hopefully find ourselves at. Now there's an enter remote turret button here, and that takes us up to the top mounted turret, which has a very good range of view here, except for, of course, that it has to jump up for these wings. And so you have a pretty substantial, particularly when they're folded up like this, limit on your view to the left and right. But I think when you've got these wings lowered to their normal position, it won't be quite so severe. Anyhow, let's climb back out and have the seat come up to normal level. We'll visit the pilot seat in a moment later. And you notice there's another door here. And that's, I'm presuming, for the either the pilot's or the captain's quarters. And you look in here, and it's really no different than the crew. This is a very egalitarian design here on the part of Drake. Captain gets the same quarters as everybody else. So let's head towards the back and the more engineering-oriented places of the ship. Now, you take a look here. Again, here we're back in the mess hall with the elevator. Just keep yourself oriented. Now we're heading towards the back. And we're coming to the main engineering space. And it's kind of this octagon with component access all around the outside and in the pillar. The pillar contains life support and gravity systems. Let me walk around here. Now, in typical Drake style, they don't fancy it up with some sort of cover to hide these things. They're just there for you to see. Couple batteries, power plant. More batteries. Quantum and fuel tanks. And then here off to the side, open this door, and we get a little boarding area. We got a few suit lockers here. 3 suit lockers, it looks like. They all open up. Also looks like I'm counting 4 or 5 gun racks. So here's where you can get all suited up to go out on an expedition. And then this airlock docking collar. So even though you can go up to the roof, this seems to be the much more practical place to leave the ship going EVA, because it's meant to be a airlock and a preparation zone. So let's go back to the engineering area and walk around it one more time. Then we'll head further back, and this is the cargo bay and vehicle loading. And it looks nice and roomy. Well, a little later we'll see if I can get a chance to see what we can fit in here. Not sure what these big round things are. I think they're related to the wings and the rotating thrusters. I don't know what this stuff is. Looks like C code to me, maybe APL. All right, what we got here? And there's also a few components in the walls here. So this may actually put a bit of a crimp on where you can stack boxes. You can kind of see on the floor where the cargo grid is. But you're going to have to maintain access to these components. So don't be stacking up boxes right next to the door. You may be in trouble if you have to get the component in an emergency. So here's the door. Nice broad ramp. Looking good. Definitely, I'm getting the feeling I have no trouble fitting a Ursa Rover in here. But the real question is going to be, can I fit much else beyond the Ursa Rover? So let's check out, make sure if both of these ramp panels work. Well, okay, so there's a ramp panel on the left. I'm on the right, depending on whether you're looking forward. Or on the right as you're looking forward. It has the ability to lock the ramp. Ain't that a cool thing? And yes, that works. And then there's another one here on the left as you're looking forward, right next to the elevator access. It looks exactly the same. And indeed, let's give it a try. Come on, click on it. And indeed, it works exactly the same. So you got two panels. That's kind of redundant, which is something you don't often see in a Drake ship, is any level of redundancy. So let's climb on board again, and I'll fire her up, and we'll get on our way. And so here you see K on your keyboard moves the VTOL thrusters back and forth, but does not change the wings. Neither does lowering or raising the landing gear. Although when you lower the landing gear, it does put the wings in the up position. But when you lower the landing gear, it doesn't. When you raise the landing gear, it doesn't change it. But the Alt K key on the keyboard, that does change the wings, irrespective of the landing gear. So if you need to fit someplace narrow without extending the landing gear, and you notice that in order to fit into the height of a hangar, the right wing has to do a funny thing of lifting and unfolding as well as lowering. And that's why the landing gear has to also be so short, because that wing off to the right is a long baby. All right, so let's get moving. And all in all, I am not being impressed so far with the handling of this craft. It feels very sluggish. Now, maybe that's just because these early production units have not been properly tuned, or it could just be the way this ship is intended. In fact, you see off in the distance there's another new Drake Corsair. I'm not the only one having one of these chance to take a look-see at. So let me get out here. And we'll sort of head up to orbit and then head out to Cockpit. But so far, I would not recommend this as a ship that you're going to try to do some maneuvering in. You was definitely going to need the gimbaling action on those 4 weapons to get them onto a target. You're not going to be able to get this baby on target just with your flight. So don't expect that you're going to be able to swap out those M6As, what they are, M5As, to something that's a fixed weapon, because it just simply do not have the maneuverability to really get your nose on target that precisely. So you'll need to keep them gimbaled, even if it gives you the option to have a fixed weapon. You're not going to want to use it. All right, so here I am moving out over towards this is in fact full throttle, and you see we are not getting very fast in the atmosphere here. So this is not a quick or nimble craft. I'm kind of a little bit surprised at that. Usually I expect Drake to have quick and nimble craft. This is impressing me. Is even more slower and sluggish than a caterpillar. there's my 4 pylon guns. Keep those in gimbal mode, I would say, most of the time. And there's my 2 wing guns. I do not know if these are able to be put on pylons or not. That'll take some testing. Considering how difficult it is to get this nose on target, I might be tempted to put, like scatter guns or distortion scatter guns on them as a way to knock out a ship and keep it from giving you trouble. Its handling ain't great, but it certainly seems good enough for the purposes of being able to line up on. Let me put it on. Let's see how well it fits on the small landing pad. I know it'll fit on the large one. Let's see how much space it has on the merely large landing pad. It won't need, so let's see how well it fits without needing the jumbo landing pad at the side. Again, I lower the landing gear and the wings will raise automatically. However, raising the landing gear does not automatically put them in flight mode. That is what you need the Alt-K key for. And then the K key, as you see here, is moving the VTOLs. Anyhow, it's being well managed in terms of being able to set it down nicely on the pad. Looks good on the pad. Although again, if this was a rough terrain, one large rock underneath it might be sitting here teeter-tottering. Don't want that to be the case. Okay, so let's check out a Ursa Rover here. Let me do a quick claim, and we'll see how this thing can fit inside the back
Your insurance claim
of the
has been
Corsair.
sent.
All right, this looks like it's going to be an easy fit. I'm going to try to shift it over to the left here, see if there's room on the right to fit something else. But again, you don't, in reality, want to get this anything loading on the ship too close to the walls on each side, or you will lose access to your components, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to pull it all the way to the front here. Had no trouble fitting underneath the roof, although it is close. I don't think anything much taller than a Bunk and a Rover will be able to fit in there. Let's see how much space there is around. No problem having space to open up the door in the back. And maybe just enough to squeeze by there. And I'm not sure if that's, you might be able to fit a Knox, but it might be rather tight. Let's see if I can check out a Knox. But I don't really think that in a practical situation you can fit much of anything to either side. Again, you could squeeze in a Knox, but you would probably lose access to your components. So I would not recommend it, putting a Knox off to that side.
Retrieval system.
Now, they did not have a Knox or a hover quad available here, but they did have a Dragonfly, so I guess that's what I'll check out and see what it'll fit. All right, and as I expected, not only is the fitting a bike along the side inadvisable from a component access standpoint, it just ain't space for it. So I'm now going to just sideways it up, just slide her in sideways. And it looks like there is plenty of space to set myself down behind of the Rover, which also means there would be space to set myself down in front of the Rover if I was the first one getting on board here. And that's what it looks like. Fits the Dragonfly nicely side to side, behind or in front of the Rover and the Rover itself. And that seems like nice with enough room to get around and operate the doors and so forth. Close up the back ramp here, make sure that'll happen just fine. No space conflicts or other. Looks like I could fit a couple of small packages. So nothing else big if you're fitting both of those. Without the bike, I could probably fit a half dozen or so of the full-size containers. All looking good here. Anyhow, so that's the Drake Corsair. I'm liking the ship in many respects. The only two flies in the ointment, which is pretty normal for ointment, is the fact that it's kind of sluggish and the fact that it's got such low ground clearance for landing anywhere except a flat, already improved surface. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Ray with Ray's Guide. And this is Daniel Raymond with an update on our giveaways. We are going to be at the end of this IAE Expo, completing our Grow the Channel ship giveaway for this year, and giving away to some lucky player their choice of either the Anvil Liberator, the shipping ship for shipping your ships, or the Misk Odyssey long-length look-ahead launcher lorry. One entry per video. Members, you are automatically entered for any video that you are a member of at the time of the video's publication. And if the winner is a member at the time of the publication of the winning video and at the drawing time, remember that if you've let your membership expire, then you will win both the Liberator and the Odyssey. For everyone else, just be a subscriber and comment with the secret word. And the secret word is what Gray said your ship would be if you landed on a large rock. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.